New disturbing details on a murder in the suburbs. 19 News obtaining documents that show what police saw and heard from a man suspected of killing his wife. We do want to warn you, the details could be troubling to hear. Now at 3, Brittany Weir joining us live in Westlake with what she has uncovered. Brittany.
Yes, Nicole, William Feather, who is charged with murder in connection to the death of his wife, Michelle, was supposed to appear in Rocky River Municipal Court this morning, but that arraignment was canceled because he is still hospitalized. But 19 News obtained new police reports that show exactly the grisly scene inside that couple's home and the alarming statements the 65-year-old suspect made to police. William Feather is charged with murder in the death of his wife. Police say last Friday, the 65-year-old called 911 saying Michelle Feather was unresponsive inside their Canterbury Road home. But when officers arrived, they found something far more alarming than a medical emergency. Police reports released today show officers found blood throughout the home, on the floors, the furniture, the bed, and in the bathroom. Police say Feather gave officers a series of contradictory stories. At one point, he claimed he didn't even call 911, even though he did. He also volunteered, unprompted, that there was, quote, no domestic violence, nothing of that sort, before anyone had asked. When police asked William what happened, he said his wife simply fell off the couch.
We didn't know exactly what happened, which seemed weird at the time.
Officers also noted dried blood under Feather's fingernails and a fresh scratch on his face, which he claimed was from shaving. The reports also revealed this was not the first time police were called to the Feather home. In January, just 6 months ago, William Feather was arrested and charged with domestic violence after police say he hit Michelle and shoved her into a door. William later took a plea deal to reduce the domestic violence charge, and according to the report, Michelle asked the court to drop the temporary protection order against her husband.
When our officers were there investigating what happened, they saw that there was some chaos in the house for sure. So it was more than just a medical emergency.
And the police report also says that William told those police officers on Friday that the couple's 14-year relationship was, quote, bad from the start, but he loved his wife so much so he just dealt with it. Now, prosecutors have not set a new court date yet for Feather. Live in Westlake, Brittany Weir, 19 News.